Welcome to the Passive Voice Grammar Mini Lesson. Congratulations, you have chosen the most complicated and debated over technique in grammar. So let's get started. So what is passive voice? First, let's start with the official definition. It's a grammatical construction wherein the noun or noun phrase that would be the object of an active sentence appears as the subject of a sentence with a passive voice. So here's what it looks like in active voice. Our troops defeated the enemy. It's very clear that our subject here, troops, and what did they do? They defeated. Now with the passive voice, we're going to take this object, the enemy, and put it in place of the subject. So here's our passive voice. The enemy was defeated by our troops. Kind of puts our emphasis on enemy rather than who actually did the defeating. So here's how to form passive voice. So we take our first one with active voice, someone cleans the streets every day. And to turn it into passive voice, we would just say the streets are cleaned every day. Oftentimes people use the passive voice when they are unclear as to who is performing a task, or when you don't really want to say who performed the task. And sometimes students, especially in college, will use the passive voice to sound fancier or more academic, when in fact a lot of professors and teachers abhor the passive voice and do not like it. So the official way to create the passive voice, you take the verb, you add a version of the verb to be, and the past participle. So it's how you are making sure that you're keeping the same tense. So we have our active voice, Columbia discovered America in 1492, and our passive voice, America was discovered by Columbus in 1942. So again, we're taking our object, America, and we're making that the most important part of our sentence rather than Columbus discovering it. So here's practice. I'd like you to write down these sentences, and then I want you to change them so that they now are in the passive voice form. So we have I make a cake, I must make a cake, I should have made a cake, and I must make a cake. So here's how we turn that into passive voice. A cake is made. We take I must make a cake to a cake must be made. I should have made a cake to a cake should have been made. And we take I was making a cake to a cake was being made. And again, this is when you might use the passive voice when you don't want to say who should have been making a cake, but that a cake must be made. If you look at that second example, it doesn't really say in this sentence who should do it. It doesn't say I should do it or you should do it, but it's someone kind of being passive here. A cake must be made. I'm not going to say who should do it. Someone should make this cake. And again, I said this at the very beginning, but a special note about the passive voice. So this is the one grammatical rule or construction in our web class that many grammarians and professors do not like. Passive voice should be used sparingly. It's not to make your writing sound fancier, but you want to figure out why people would use passive voice at all, because there is a place for it, but it's your job to figure that out, as this is the rule and grammatical construction that you are defending. Good luck. Make sure that you play the passive voice game before you move on to your research. Thanks for watching.